Good morning, my friends. I hope y'all had a wonderful weekend. I know I did. But hey, raise your hands if you are obese or if you have a loved one or a friend that is obese. And I'm raising my hand in this too. Okay. Now, keep your hands raised if you or this same loved one or friend also has something like high blood pressure or high blood sugar. And I'll have my hands raised on that one too. I bet if I could see you right now, some of you at least would have your hands still raised. And so, have you ever wondered why aren't we just obese? Why aren't we just diabetic? Or why don't we just have high blood pressure? Why do these things often occur together? Perhaps it matters on what we're eating and how often we're eating. Well, stay tuned because we're going to find out that there is a culprit at ground zero for all of these markers. Hey, my name is Susan and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I have been living a ketogenic lifestyle for the past year and a half. I have reversed my type 2 diabetes, fatty liver, high blood pressure, and I'm no longer in stage 1 kidney disease. Since being diagnosed with all these issues, I have done a deep dive into learning why I developed all these conditions at such an early age, and I'm still learning. I have a passion to share what I am learning with you so that you too can know how you can reverse your metabolic issues or improve on them. So don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit that bell icon so that you don't miss another video. Well, I want to begin with showing you some maps that will track the rise in obesity here in America over the years. Now, I could have shown a map of every year since 1990, but to save time, I am just going to show you the change in map every 10 years. And the earliest I could find is 1990, and the latest I could find is 2022. Now, guys, here is the map for America in 1990. And I want to remind you, the reason I am focusing on the topic of obesity is because when one is obese, they are not just simply obese. Obesity is a symptom of the metabolic issues going on inside of you. So as we look at these maps and track the rise of obesity in America, you can go ahead and acknowledge the rise in metabolic illnesses such as diabetes, high blood pressure, kidney issues, inflammation, and on and on and on. So, having said that, here is the 1990 map, and we are looking at maybe 6 states that are in the gray, which since they're not on the key, I'm going to assume that that means that these states in 1990 didn't have enough of an obesity problem to report anything. The rest of the states are either in the 10 to 14% or 15 to 19%, which is, it's not good to have any kind of obesity problem, but it's not too terribly bad. Mississippi, on the other hand, they're already up in the 20 to 24% range. All right. So let's look at 2010 and see just where America has went in 10 years' time. Okay, guys, well, look, in 10 years' time, this is the year 2000. We no longer have any states in the gray. So all states have enough of a problem in obesity that it's showing on this map. And looks like it's really picking up in the more southern type states. Southern people, we love those biscuits and gravy, right? But anyways, looks like the majority is heading towards I'd say the 20 to 24% range. Again, I wish I'd use a different color to help see the difference there. But anyways, but the rest of the United States, we're all in at least 10 to the 30% range by this point in 2000. So, well, does it improve though in the next 10 years? Well, let's find out. Here's the 2010 map. Okay, well, we definitely didn't see any improvements. In fact, we are actually in I would view the warning zone here. Look at this. The majority of the states are at least 20 to 24%, and we have a lot in the 25 to 30% range, or maybe that's 30 to 35% range. It's hard for me to really see the color code, but either way, that's horrible. And we can see, if you didn't believe already that we're in an epidemic of obesity, then by now in the year of 2010, we should be able to acknowledge, hey, we have a problem. Something is not working. you know. And then instead of doing 2020, I went on to do 2022. That way I could show the most updated map that I could find on the website. And here is 2022. Guys, this is scary. Look at that. Now, I can tell now, like Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, and all those states around that is in the 35 plus percent, 35 plus percent. That means some of these states might not just be at 35%, they might be at 70 or 80%. We don't know. It just is 35% and up. Okay. Now, Colorado, that's what I want to know about. How are they the only state that is still just in the 15 to 19% range? Do you think they found ketogenic lifestyle before we did? I don't know. But hey, hopefully they can keep it there or improve it. So, guys, these are the states and how we're doing. How is your state doing? I know Texas, we're not doing very good at all. We like that cornbread too much, I guess. So now we must ask this question. Why did our obesity rates begin to climb around the 1980s to 90s? Well, let's take a look at the McGovern Report that came out in January of 1977. As you can see, this report recommends low fat, less cholesterol, less refined carbs, and how they aim to achieve this was to eat more fruits, vegetables, and whole grains while consuming less of red fatty meat, eggs, and dairy. Now, do you think this is a coincidence between this report and the increasing obesity rate? I think not. So, guys, did you know, by the way, that when you remove fat from food, it doesn't taste very good? And I can actually confirm that because even when I buy 80 to 20 ground beef versus the 73 to 27 ground beef, the fattier one tastes better. So I can actually agree to that and testify to that. So, how are they going to get everybody to eat less fat if the food didn't taste good? Well, the obvious solution was to add sugar to food. Guys, that's when everything started getting become really processed. Is they start adding sugar to food so that we'll eat it because it tasted good to our brains. It tasted good to us in our taste buds. And guys, do you remember in the I think it was the 90s when it started doing this, that you can go through like McDonald's and supersize your meals? Well, there's a reason for that. Because as they added sugar into our foods, we were spiking our blood sugar and our insulin. And as I've said before, guys, when you spike your insulin and blood sugar, it's got to come down. And when it comes down, you get hungry again. And we have to eat more to feel full, to feel satiated. But that satiation doesn't last long because when that spike comes down, well, guess what? You're going to run back out and get another high carb, sugary meal. And it's just a big domino effect, guys. It's really sad and scary. Okay. And so that's why it does matter what we're eating and how often we're eating because we're constantly eating and it's keeping our insulin levels high. And when the insulin is high, that's when all of our problems start. Guys, the culprit is insulin, the hormone insulin. Not because the hormone insulin is a bad thing, but it's because what we're doing to it. As long as it stays elevated in our bodies, we become inflamed. Our blood pressure starts going up. Our blood sugar starts going up. And guess what? We become hypertensive, diabetic, got kidney disease, heart disease, losing our eyesight, and on and on and on. Guys, I need a tinfoil hat for real because I'm starting to believe that there is something sinister behind all this. Because think about this, guys. 1977. It has been 47 years since this report was released. Now, did they say, did they give it about 10 years and be like, hey, you know what? We're starting to see a climb in obesity. Maybe we should reevaluate this report and say, hey, something's not right here. No. 47 years later, and they're still pushing this on us, even though we can clearly see it's not working. In fact, it is killing us. You tell me, guys, does this not make you mad? Think about that. Your loved ones. This is mind-blowing to me. Like, how come nobody has stepped up and said, hey, this isn't working. We're killing ourselves. No, Not a word. It's things like this. I try my hardest to not be a conspiracy theorist. I do. I try not to wear that hat. But man, is it hard to not go down that road when you see things like this. What do you guys think? You think it's something more sinister here? Or is it just my imagination? Because if it is, I need to know that. And I'll gladly listen to your point of view on that. But guys, it's clearly evident that insulin resistance, which is what happens when you keep your insulin levels, high, is a dietary issue. And since it's a dietary issue, it just takes a dietary change. So cut the carbs and sugar out of your meals and begin to fast. Now, guys, that might be hard for you when you're first starting out because you're not fat adapted yet. But as you cut the carbs and sugar out, your body will become more fat adapted, which means you will be able to stay satiated for longer periods of time. And that fasting will not become such a burden, but it'll become more natural to you. And that's why those of us who have been doing carnivore and keto for a while are able to do 1, 2 meals a day without issue at all. And it'll do it for you too. Guys, you can restore your health, metabolically speaking. You can improve on your health and or reverse these unnecessary diseases. Okay? But we have got to stop listening to these guidelines of reducing the fat and eating all the carbs and sugar. Okay? And it begins with us. All right. Well, guys, I hope this has been enlightening for you. And I think that, can be a tool to help you view the foods that you've been so addicted to in a different light. And maybe viewing them in a different light will help you to not want them so much. Because as I've always said, the more you know, the you know. My friends, it's been a pleasure. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.